Have you ever woken up on a quiet morning, looked into the mirror and asked yourself, if I were younger, prettier, had made fewer mistakes, would he have stayed? We, women, have been taught how to love others, but we forgot to learn how not to hate ourselves. You don't need to be perfect to deserve love, because true love doesn't come from being flawless. It comes from daring to show up, even in your most vulnerable moments. This video doesn't teach you how to make someone come back. It's about coming back to someone you've forgotten for too long, yourself. Stay with me for the next 15 minutes. And who knows, maybe one line near the end will be the one you've secretly needed to hear for a very long time. The trap of self-judgment. When you become your own cruelest critic. Women are taught by society to love others, but rarely taught how not to hate themselves. From a young age, we're surrounded by subtle messages. Girls must be well behaved. Don't eat too much. No one loves a chubby girl. Study hard so you'll have value in the future. As we grow up, these words don't disappear. They just change form. She's prettier than you. Stop nagging. I'm tired. A woman like you is hard to deal with. And at some point we no longer need anyone else to say it. We say it to ourselves. We doubt ourselves whenever we see our partner smiling at his phone. We blame ourselves when our child misbehaves. We feel less attractive just because our body doesn't look like it used to. No one needs to hurt you because you've gotten used to doing it yourself every day. This is the biggest trap of self-judgment. It doesn't come from others. It comes from you, and you believe it. The story of Emily, a 33-year-old woman living in New York. She's a creative director at a major agency, independent, talented, with an elegant sense of style. But behind every stylish outfit is a fear. If I look bad today, will he still be proud of me? After a breakup that ended without a word, Emily spent sleepless nights thinking, maybe I wasn't sexy enough, not interesting enough, not worth holding on to. But she forgot one thing. No one is ever worthy enough in the eyes of someone who doesn't know how to appreciate. Just like no flower blooms in season inside someone who only knows how to cut at the root. Self-judgment makes you race against yourself, but it's a race with no finish line. The more you try to be loved, the more you feel you're not enough. Because you're living by a false logic, that love is a reward, not a resonance. Stoic philosophy doesn't tell you to become numb. It reminds you, live by your own standards instead of being valued through others' eyes. Because true freedom doesn't lie in making someone love you. It lies in no longer putting yourself on trial every morning. You are not the defendant. You are someone who has survived so many things others will never understand. And that alone is a miracle already worthy of love. 2. Stoicism. Loving with awareness. The philosophy of Stoicism doesn't teach you to become indifferent. It teaches you to see life clearly, calmly, and deliberately, especially in love, where people most often lose themselves. Stoicism says, there are two things you must clearly distinguish: what you can control and what you cannot. You can control your kindness, your loyalty, the way you love, but you cannot control whether someone responds or not. You can manage your own attitude, but never someone else's heart. And the strange thing is, when you stop trying to control love, you begin to truly feel it. Love is not a competition to prove you're worthy. Love is not a reward for being the least flawed. True love must have space for what's imperfect. When you breathe through your pain without hiding or denying, you are living stoically. When you don't rush to change yourself to make someone stay, but instead ask, is this person deep enough to truly walk with me? You are living stoically. And when you stop letting judgment, comparisons, and outside expectations make you feel small, that's when you start loving with awareness. Awareness is not dryness. Awareness is seeing clearly. That you love someone because you seek connection, not because you fear loneliness. That you want companionship, not rescue. That you choose love, not beg for someone to choose you. Remember the last time you felt rejected. Maybe it was a message left unread. Maybe it was the way their eyes no longer lit up when they saw you. How did you respond? If you immediately thought, maybe I'm not good enough, you just handed over the power to define yourself to someone else. Stoicism urges you to take that power back. You weren't born to be validated. You were born to show up as you are and not ask for permission to live your truth. A Stoic woman is not cold or emotionally distant. She still loves, still hurts, still hopes, but she knows this clearly. True love never requires her to lose herself. 3. The story of Laura in Seattle and the rebirth of a woman. Laura, 45 years old, lived in the suburbs of Seattle. She had once been a devoted wife, a loving mother, and a night shift nurse, a job no one remembered the face of, yet always present when someone needed her most. She had loved with all her heart, until what she received in return was only prolonged silence and an evening when her husband quietly packed his things without a single word of explanation. "Maybe it's because I'm no longer attractive," she said in a flat voice, as if the pain had grown numb. "Maybe it's because I've gotten old. I nagged too much. I'm no longer the woman he once loved." For nearly 2 years after the divorce, Laura didn't date anyone. Not because she hated men, but because she believed she had become too worn out to still be worthy of love. You see, the scariest thing isn't being abandoned. The scariest thing is when you start to believe they were right, that you deserve to be left behind. In the autumn of her 48th year, Laura made a small decision. She signed up for a pottery class. Not because she wanted to meet someone, not because she wanted to be reborn, just because she wanted to touch something soft, something that didn't judge, something that could break, but could still be reshaped. From a simple hobby, she began to rediscover her own presence. She started to notice her beautiful hands again while kneading clay. She started buying flowers to arrange, even though the house now had only one person. She learned to care for herself the way she used to care for her patients, patiently, unconditionally. And then, the most interesting thing happened. It wasn't a man knocking at the door. It was that she stopped waiting for that knock. And in that very moment, for the first time in years, she felt whole. That was when a man named Mark, an old high school friend, happened to see her at a pottery exhibition. Not because she was more beautiful than before, not because she was younger, but because she had a very unusual look in her eyes, the look of someone who had chosen to live even when no one was watching. Laura no longer needed love to validate her worth. She simply received love as a beautiful gift, but not a condition to feel complete. When you stop chasing someone just to be loved, you become strangely attractive. Not because you try to be, but because you've stopped trying altogether. Laura wasn't perfect, but she found love, because she paused and chose to love herself first. 4. Freedom from comparison. When you stop looking at others, you finally see yourself. One of the reasons women feel not enough is not because they truly lack something, but because they can't stop looking sideways. Today's social media is no longer just a place for connection, but a non-stop exhibition of who's living better than you. There you'll see others with slimmer bodies after childbirth, better skin after 40, more loving husbands, more well-behaved kids, fancier homes. And even though you know it's all just images, you still feel like you've lost. The Stoics once said, "Don't waste your time looking at what others have. Look at what you already possess." Comparison is a subtle form of self-rejection. Every time you think, "I wish I were like her," you're silently telling yourself, "I'm not good enough as I am." A woman in Houston named Riley, 37 years old, once shared in a group therapy session, I can't enjoy a good meal if I know my friend is on a detox. I can't feel confident in a bikini if I know someone bounced back after giving birth in just 3 months. Riley didn't hate her friend. She just felt like she was losing, even though no one was competing. She was living as if in a race with no audience, no judges, yet always with the sense that she came in last. And that's what made her stop. She deleted Instagram. She wrote down 10 things she was grateful for every morning, including, "I still have the ability to feel. I know how to hug my child with my whole heart. I have eyes that smile, even without filters." After 3 months, Riley shared something that made the whole group fall silent. "I realized, every time I compare myself, I'm not really present in my own life." Stoicism teaches you to stop placing your self-worth on a measuring stick that doesn't belong to you. You don't need to be as tall as her. You don't need to eat like that other woman. You only need to live in rhythm with your own heartbeat, even if no one hears it, even if no one claps. And here's the important part. You are not loved because you outdid someone. You are loved because you dared to show up, unedited, in a world that keeps demanding you be edited. And that is the most beautiful kind of freedom. True love must be relearned. Not to love the right person, but to love yourself the right way. There is a truth that few dare to speak out loud. Women learn how to love others very early on, but they are not taught how to love themselves in a gentle, mature and bounded way. We are taught how to become the ideal girlfriend, the perfect mother, the capable wife. We learn how to care, listen, forgive and sacrifice. But we are rarely taught, when is it time to stop? When does staying begin to hurt yourself? When does love stop being love and become just fear of abandonment dressed in pretty clothes? True love is not like in the movies. It doesn't always have a perfect ending, nor does it always come with roses and candles. True love is when you dare to stay, even if the other person is imperfect. But it is also when you dare to walk away, even if your heart still beats for them. Mature love begins when you no longer beg to be chosen, no longer have to apply to be loved. You don't send out an emotional resume. You don't attach edited profile pictures. You don't try to act perfectly to make someone stay. You stay only when that person makes you feel safe, not perfect, but honest and respectful. And if not, you leave. Not because you don't love them, but because you've learned to love yourself better. Stoicism doesn't teach you to be tough to hide your tears. Stoic thought simply reminds you, every relationship is a choice, not a destiny. You weren't born to belong to someone. You have the right to choose, every day, whether this love still nurtures you or has become a place where you slowly suffocate. A woman named Sandra in California once shared, "I didn't realize I was in a toxic relationship until my daughter started copying the way I always stayed silent when being treated badly." In that very moment, she didn't just relearn love. She relearned how to be a mother. She relearned how to be a human being. True love does not shrink you. It doesn't force you to toughen up or play the role of the ideal woman. True love is when you get to be yourself, even if that means being misunderstood, being hurt, and sometimes being left behind. But from that place, you grow. And for the first time, you love, not to be kept, but so you don't lose yourself. 6. Closing. A call to action. Love yourself again, starting today. You've heard a lot of advice, that you should love yourself, that you don't need to be perfect to deserve love. But today I don't want to leave you with just a beautiful quote. I want to invite you to act. Do one small thing. Right now, as this video ends, grab a piece of paper and write down 3 things you love about yourself. They don't have to be big things. It could be, I know how to listen, or I keep getting back up after every fall, or simply, I'm still here and I haven't given up. That seemingly small action is actually a quiet act of resistance against this world, a world that keeps telling you you're not enough, you need to fix yourself, be better, be younger, be sweeter. But you don't need to become someone else to be loved. You just need to stop abandoning yourself. And if you're still in doubt, remember this. No one can give you worth if you don't believe you deserve it. Love will come and go. Compliments may fade. But true worth is something only you can build through the way you treat yourself every day. If this video touches you, share it with another woman. Someone you know who's silently thinking, maybe I'm not good enough to be loved. Don't let her believe that any longer. Don't let strong, smart, kind women live in silence just because the world made them forget themselves. And if you want to spread this message, leave a comment. I'm learning to love myself, even if I'm not perfect. That's not a declaration. It's a homecoming. Back to the person you once abandoned, yourself. And this time you're not leaving, you're staying. To love. Not to be chosen, but because you've chosen yourself. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. See you on the next journey, where we don't seek love for validation, but live with love as a natural part of who we are.